Hello, my video is about my personal reflection video is about the 30 Years War. And with the 30 Years War, there was a few things that stood out to me in the 30 Years War. And the 30 Years War, the thing that stood out to me was, you know, first of all, it was kicked off in the Roman Empire. It was kicked off during the Roman Empire, which was like, I think it's like mostly modern day, the way Germany is today. And it was, it rooted in like religious conflict, Catholics versus Protestants, after the Reformation. And what I found interesting was how, by reading that, was how the Protestant name came about. It was basically protests. I found that to be interesting. It was about protests, and then they turned into Protestant. Um, it didn't really stay in the religious perspective, religious way. It didn't stay about religion. It went into it started getting into other things, like it started getting into politics and things like that. And they had a power struggle. The Catholic rulers of Austria and places like that, they wanted dominance. And then you had other, like any war, people from outside tend to get into it because they're all tied into it politically in some way, like France, Sweden, Denmark. Um, and some of them were siding with the enemies in order to make this happen. So you had different things going on, like the Protestant revolt was stopped. Denmark jumps in, they lost. Sweden dominates for a little while, and then France enters, and then turning it into a full European war, which is led to so many different things going wrong, like mass starvation, you know, troops looting. They lost, German places and regions lost like 30 to 50% of the population. You had disease, famine, violence, all those kind of things like that was going on. It mattered because it marked the decline of religious wars in Europe. It shifted politics over theology, because I think with that 30 Years War, with all the death and all the destruction and all the bad things that went wrong, people were now looking for, according to my readings, people were looking for something else to now follow, and they wasn't following religion or theology anymore. So that's when those great thinkers that we consider great thinkers today came about, like Descartes, um, and people like him, people like them came about. So, it was a Catholic theology, Protestant theology, how people were getting saved, as far as the religious aspect of it. Just so many different things that were interesting to me, and then how it led into the French Revolution with all these different changes and wars and things like that. So mine was a 30 Years War, and I just found it interesting of how they fought for that long. And it's amazing that it was able to push people away from their religious beliefs, or push people away from theology to try to find something else to cling on to, because they felt that the theology wasn't keeping them together anymore. I just find it interesting, because you would think that you would lean more into theology and religion during those hard times, but they wanted to get away from it. I know it wasn't just them. I know it was shaped by politics and shaped by other things that played factors into it. But I just found it to be interesting. Thank you.